It's odd, really. If you asked me what my favorite MMO was a month ago, I would have answered resolutely with Blade and Soul. It has been one of the most enthralling PvP gameplay that has had me glued to the screen at any waking moment I could spare, devouring as many matches and information as I could on all the classes. But with each patch being released month after month, visible cracks are beginning to show, an underlying issue that has festered, making me question my love of the game. With the level cap now being 50 and having 10 Hong Moon levels as a supplement, it gives the player a fair amount of skill points to work with, making build more flexible and dynamic with each class matchup. When you have the added shiny secret Hong Moon techniques that unlocks the ultimate form of certain skills, with the catch being they cost more skill points to use. With these two things combined, it gives a pretty grand sense of growth as your skills evolve and become more badass over time, making you feel like you truly are mastering the arts of your class, with the added bonus of being able to balance the internal parts of each class. At least this works in theory. Instead, it feels more like a patchwork addition to hopefully bring up the quality of the game without really fixing any of the previous issues. It's like adding a neat pole in an apartment complex without fixing any of the shoddy wiring everyone has been complaining about. With that being said comes the first issue with this way of balancing. The game practically demands your time if you want to compete without being lopped off at the knee, because you see, just reaching a reasonable allotment of skill points will take an eternity of monotonous grinding. The main quest line that leads you to the end game can only reliably get you to around level 49 right now, which means the rest has to be ground out with dailies. Lots and lots of dailies. Just to give you an idea what the amounts we are dealing with here, level 49 to level 50 is about 1 million XP, and your average daily will run you about 15 to 30,000, and don't think you have it easy getting through those Hong Moon levels either, as the starting level is 750,000, with a total of 31 million XP required to reach max Hong Moon level. To add insult to injury, if you haven't been dumping as much money as you can into leveling at least your weapon to trek through this, it's going to be agonizingly slow. Which, if you stop to think about it, is kind of baffling if you play for the PvP, as everything besides your skill points is fixed. Then comes the odd esoteric ways of obtaining the secret Hong Moon skills. For the longest time, I could never figure out just how to obtain these sugary delights, because the game doesn't direct you in any way to even find them. Only recently have I figured out that there was a more detailed list under the skills and the achievements, and oh boy, are the ways of obtaining them nonsensical. Eat 6 items that can only be crafted in the guild. Use your X skill on 3 different bosses 10 times each. Find or buy a volume that can sell in the hundreds of gold. But don't fret. There is an achievement hunter and a newly minted bean vendor to help alleviate the issues of RNG into an eventuality. It still will require shit tons of endless grinding though, but at least it can be done in tandem while you PvP. And last, but certainly not least, is the rampant bots and hackers in the PvP. Like the little cockroaches they are, feasting on the vulnerabilities at the heart of every MMO, they swarm towards the arena. It holds the easiest way to collect one of the most sought after crafting materials, soul stones. The higher your metal rank, the more you can grab in each go. So naturally it can be a gold farmer's dream, as all they have to do is create a bot, maybe slide some hacks into it, and call it a day. Or you could just be one of those absolute dicks of a player who wants to curb stomp everyone. And to do so, has to implement exploits and hacks, because, you know, you're kind of shit or lazy. NCSoft gets a lot of hate for this, especially because no one likes these things. I feel though NCSoft gets more of a bad rep for this than they deserve, because they clean up what they routinely can. But because it isn't completely abolished, then they just become greedy douche nozzles that only want our money and care nothing of us, that will brute force your hack shields and share the tools to do so for other willing participants in this endeavor. It's a problem that can never be fixed. only managed. And yet people think it's like flipping a switch, and that it only requires some effort to stop thousands of renegades. Overall, I still enjoy the game for what it is. But for what feels like a high demand to unlock everything I need to be viable, along with some shoddy designs that are just a pain to deal with at times, it just gets exhausting to put up with. But hey, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I just need to get good or get the fuck out. Whatever the case, I feel that at least a few of its quirks are undesirable, as I would rather play the content I want without feeling like I am being dragged into the content I loathe. I am the Lowly Mender, and I have no idea what I'm doing.